Welcome to a special series of podcast discussions for the BC Construction Association with leaders from 5 sectors of the industry so pivotal to our economy and our well-being. I'm Kirk LaPointe, your host for this series of conversations on the life stories of these leaders and their insights about their industry. Our guest in this segment is Rick Wagner. He's the president of Maxwell Floors Limited in Surrey, where he started as an apprentice in 1981, moved into sales in 1990. Then became a partner, owner, and president in 2000 of this family business started by his father. Here's our conversation. So tell me what gets you into this line of work. What attracts you to it? I mean, what do you get from it?
What gets me out of bed for this? I'm excited. I'm a competitor. I like to. It's like a hunt.
A hunt.
And for the hunt, it's, what projects do we want to go after? So if there's healthcare is being growing, I got involved in an ownership position in about 2000. And with the hospitals that have been built, money is being put aside every year. So we get to see that. And it's like, okay, this one's in our backyard. Like, we just had the new Surrey Hospital announced. And it's like, okay, that will be the next one on our agenda to get. And how will we wrap our team around that? And and that takes a lot of history.
So a competitor, though, you love to win. Do you hate to lose?
Do I hate to lose? If we got a good competitor and they've got the right price and they've done the right things, that's how the generals are going to weigh these projects as well. I think it's changing though now. It's changing based on labor. It's based on the risk of the company. Projects are getting larger, requiring more and more workforce on site. Yeah, so I think those dynamics are changing now more than ever.
I think it's good, though. I'm going to stay with this competitive theme because I really want to know where that comes from, because a lot of people would be watching, wondering, do I have the competitive spirit that it takes in order to succeed? You obviously have.
Right.
So where does it come from?
I think part of it is human nature. I was a young kid. I was a small kid. And wrestling was my sport through high school. I played grade 8 football and was told, you're way too small. And basketball wasn't tall enough. So it all started with the influence of a great coach, good mentor, say, believe in yourself and go for it. So, yeah, I would say it started through high school and worked my way up.
So was it an underdog feeling that you had to come out of that? Or was it just, I've got these great skills, I just need to find a way to apply them? What was it?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that. Finding great skills, definitely a little Napoleon complex. You had to stand up for yourself, being smaller but always would be around, would always help with the football team, would always enjoy helping with the basketball team, whether it was scorekeeping or getting involved with the training element. I was always getting myself connected with the coaches and with the players. If I couldn't play, I wanted to be able to make that team better. I was always a team player in that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you talk to successful people, they're often divided into 2 different groups. Some are loners. They go their own way. And some, though, it's like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They've had family in behind them in all of this.
Right.
Where do you fall here? Well,
definitely family. Family's a big part for me growing up with family. Big motivators to always do the best. If you know better, do better. And take the time to learn, don't repeat these mistakes. You really have to work at family. Family's not easy. I mean, you can't pick your family. You can pick your friends. We've heard that over and over again. And I think that's the same in business. I spend more time with my family.
In business.
In business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got 8 hours with them every day, usually more.
Tell me how you build relationships. What's your style in doing that?
My style in building relationships definitely flows around. Everyone has a story, and you got to take time to listen and learn. Ask the right questions, just like you're doing here. I mean, and you got to challenge them sometimes with that. Sometimes it may need, you got to listen, provide some counsel on this is what worked for me, and then you'll find out. I think a lot of it starts with the individual, not necessarily the business they're in. What drives it? Why are they driving it? And what makes their success? What are you having fun doing it? I think there has to be an element of fun. There's got to be an element of community, brings you together with everyone. to try and do construction alone, in my opinion, doesn't work. And we see that it doesn't work. I mean,
Sure.
there's some pretty big egos out there, and they may do well, but different element. I'm a family follower.
Yeah. Do you have to park the ego to have these relationships built? Because to not be judgmental right away, to not be the person who knows more right away, even if you do.
Yeah, you do have to park the ego, and that was something I needed to learn. It was I, me, no we, and that takes time if you want to build a team. And I think that was just a maturity piece, growing up, defending yourself, and that came through belonging to different associations, good counsel, but also, we have industry events that we can attend. Dale Carnegie, I never thought I'd taken Dale Carnegie, but you get up there and you've got to speak in front of your peers. I mean, Dale Carnegie learnings, I was scared to death. And just like you get a little nervous, but in the end, it is what it is. You move down the road and you got to continue to learn.
You strike me as a really authentic leader, though. And you had to probably figure out how much of a front stage behavior you had.
Right.
As opposed to who was the guy in behind that.
Yep.
How have you been able to get that guy behind that out?
Time.
Yeah.
Well, lots of time. I guess, how do we get that out? There definitely was a facade, and there can be for now. I'm trying to relax here and figure this out as well. I've got to think this one, the facade. You put up a wall to begin with, and people can see that wall, and true leaders can see through that, and they provide good leadership and coaching to say, but tell me, who's the real Rick? And I've had that from many of good mentors. Say, just relax. It's okay. This too shall pass. It does.
So if you had to tell me who the real Rick is, who's the real Rick?
The real Rick is a teacher. The real Rick is a competitor. The real Rick won't take no for an answer. If you're telling me I'm not going to get an order and that order hasn't been placed, I think we're going to have a conversation or two more to figure out how we can do this, make this better. There's reasons that they do bid leveling, and, sometimes something may have been missed, and I'm not going to give it up that easily. I've got a team of people that have supported me along the way, and my job is to support them all the way through. So having a great team behind me lets me be that figurehead to help drive us.
So here you are, you're successful. You've been really, you've led this company for pretty well a quarter century now.
Right.
What can you say were the biggest obstacles?
Younger, believing in people, not having to do it yourself, thinking, okay, I can do it better, and I'm going to just do it myself. I'm not going to hand it off because they won't do it the way I want it. And recognizing now, as our company grew, having a great partner or great partners, some of them moved on. One stayed with me, and we've been great. We worked very well together. Never worried about what I'm doing. I'm never worried what he's doing. He's on the accounting side. And when those, finances come out, you look at them. Is
it difficult to trust with that kind of, it sounds like you have an absolute trust in your partner here.
Well, everyone in our team I trust. I mean, if we're going to do a hospital and it's worth $8 million and we've got a senior leader, a foreman on that site, that individual has $8 million worth of labor and materials combined to look after. So if I'm not trusting that's going to be done right, what can I trust? And then I've got to trust the other team that's going to finance. If there's progress, we've got estimators that are doing the quantifications. Do we have the right flooring going in the right room? So it's an element of team that one can't do themselves in these large projects. And there's multiple of projects that are running on any given day. So we may be in a BC Hydro office today, along with just doing a washroom at a Fortis BC facility, or doing a hospital in Kamloops. Everyone's doing their best to get it done. Productivity is up.
When I talk to leaders all the time, they say, I think I know what I'm giving to my workforce. What I don't sometimes know is what they expect from me. Do Does your team know what to expect from you?
My team will tell me what they expect from me at times as well. So
Okay.
that's a good thing. There's no fear based in our office. I have an open door policy. We get together a couple of times a month for staff meetings, sales meetings, and on short notice. So there's a lot of office banter. I would say COVID shut some of that down. Definitely. I'm glad we're back in the office now. Not everyone's back in the office, but I'm meaning more of the sales team. They're out and about, but everybody that needs to be in the office is there doing a great job, and we can reach out at any time. There's no hiding from us. We're going to ask the question, and if we need a reply, we'll ask for a reply.
Well, it's a good time then to talk about COVID, because I think every manager feels this was a unique situation. It still is with us in a sense of it's affected the dynamic of a workforce and workplace. How have you navigated it, do you think?
We're still learning. We had the hybrid model. I'm going to say we use new words, so we're transitioning again. Not everybody wants to come in when we like them to be there. So as long as they're producing at the level we need them to produce, and they're actually growing their part of the business or learning from it, we'll accept that. It doesn't go unnoticed if you're not attending a meeting. We want to know that you can join by phone, you can join by Teams. There's really the excuse now of not being there.
Yeah.
You can't escape. So we really want to make sure people are, if you're part of the team, you're gonna support the team. If you don't want to be part of the team, you'll get called out on it.
What have you learned about yourself, Rick, in the pandemic?
Oh, wow. Well, we talked about team trust earlier. Community is a big thing. Being present around people. I think, and we see it on the sites. There's a lot of lonely people. We've never been so connected yet disconnected with all of our devices. Community has been the key. Getting out there, getting in front of people, getting into offices, and taking the time again to just listen to people, understand them, ask their questions, what's going on.
I think I know the answer to this, but do you feel you're a better leader?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was right with that guess. Yeah,
It was a great guess. And
Nice. But there still are challenges now. And we've got, of course, inflation that hasn't totally disappeared. A labor force that's hard to source, harder than I think a lot of people thought. Where are your pain points right now?
Well, you think we shouldn't have labor problems. We have 460 to 480,000 new immigrants coming into Canada every year, probably this year alone, 450,000, and we don't have housing for them. So, those need to be built. They also need to be trained. We've got language barriers. So we still need to adapt. We've got a long way to go, but we can't bury our head in the sand. We've been talking about this for 25 years, probably before I even was thinking about it. We are just now in a forced way having to deal with it. It's not going to be dealt with in having a badge because you're going to go become a weekend warrior and go take a 6-hour course on how to install a particular type of floor. Not going to work. Experience will work, sharing of ideas, learning the proper tools. I think if we really get down to it, we have to look at the industry as a whole. And I think the crafts are not looked upon as the first trade of choice. We hear about this. But if we look in Europe, whether you're a doctor, you're an accountant, you're a cabinet maker or a floor layer, you're all treated the same or have that respect for each other. There's no sense of hierarchy there. And I think we still see that here.
Yeah. How do we get that status equivalence in a workforce?
It's going to be an education. It's going to be learning to lift people up, to help, to share, to get into classrooms. I think talking to our young ones that this is the place to go. I didn't think I would be in the industry early on. That was not my choosing. I thought I was going to go into university and probably didn't even, well, not probably. I didn't know where I was going to go if I was going to university. That was just the thing to do. And so I'm quite pleased I ended up taking up a trade. For other individuals, it's going to be convincing, coming from immigrant parents. My dad was a tradesperson. I looked up to my dad. So him being a mentor made it a lot easier. It's like, wow, I'm at that status. I'm going to be there. I think the possibilities are there. It's one of the few industries where you actually can start pushing a broom and wind up the CEO of a company.
Well, that's your story, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was your trajectory. And people can look at that. So your encouragement of participation of younger people,
Yes.
has to come with, again, somewhat gambling on them and all that.
Right.
When someone comes to you and wants to work with you, how do you assess that person? What's your spider sense telling you about whether this is a person to bring in or to say, come back later?
Yeah, good question. That's a moving target. A simple analogy I think I can share is if we're interviewing for a salesperson and I may not be involved with the very first interview, if I'm seeing an individual that's walking past my office heading towards the front door and they've got a good pace to them and they're looking all, they got prim and proper, they're ready to go, or I see somebody that's just, walking along. When character's what people do when you're not watching. And I think trying to figure out that character early, find out what they like to do, where is their fun, and what are their pain points, really helps identify little things where you got to pick and choose and then go down the rabbit hole.
This will sound like an end of life question, so don't take it the wrong way. But I want to know how you feel you can be remembered. What it is you'd like people to think of you, so that way, if you exit the business,
right?
What is it that that you want Rick Wagner to be remembered for?
Well, there are a lot of people who helped get me here, but what would people want Rick Wagner to be remembered by? Caring, giving good counsel, challenging, and a competitor. We can't stop learning, and giving back. I think if you don't have money to give your time. Be somewhat philanthropic. The construction industry got my family, the team, to a really good place. Now it's time to give back, but at the same time, you can't take your foot off the gas pedal. You need to keep looking for new opportunities, and we're going to see some new changes. I think robotics is coming. AI is here. We've seen it now with ChatGPT. But for Rick, I guess we'll go right back to your question to keep it simple. Caring, good counsel, challenge, and a competitor for sure. Yeah.
How far away is that from the Rick Wagner who got into the business?
Looking back, probably not that far away. There's just been a lot of learnings that one has had to reach into the pocket and pull out that card and say, counsel, okay, I need counsel on this one, or is it time for me to give that counsel? And by counsel, it's more the sharing of experiences or sharing what I have done, not what you should do. And then on the challenges, definitely we're going to make mistakes, and I made a few of those along the way. Don't shame yourself. That's a big one. We'll get through this. Competitor, well, on the competitor side of things, I don't think you can take that out. I love to ski with my kids. I love to ride a road bike. That's what I do in my off. I think staying healthy is also part of a competition, keeps the mind young. And so you can be in competition with yourself. You can be in competition with your peers and your friends. You got to have some fun along the way. That's a big part of it.
I feel like I've got to end the interview just so you can go back to work. It sounds like you want to be there in about 2 minutes. But it's been a great conversation. I really appreciate it. I think you've given us a lot of insight into your own personality and how it gets applied in a workforce. And congratulations on this. This is a very, very good long run. Glad to have you in for a conversation.
Great. Well, thank you, Kirk. I appreciate the opportunity. It's about helping others, step up, just taking that next step. It's going to feel uncomfortable as you grow your business. It's going to be uncomfortable to get out front. I mean, getting behind a microphone for me the very first time at a staff event in our own company, stutter. And now I really enjoy getting up to be an MC, maybe at an awards banquet or at a Christmas luncheon for the associations. And so take what you've learned, put it out there, and try and lead by example. I think that's how we're going to grow our industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. I'm Kirk LaPointe. Thanks a lot for watching.